So, hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Oh Heck Nah, a Naked and Afraid podcast. And we're focusing on Last One Standing. I'm MaLu, Beyonce, and I have
Gabe,
my beautiful co-host. Before we start, I have a couple things that we need to handle. And unfortunately, I'm really upset about this. Let me just pull it up really fast. And did you see Patrick's post
about the Bushman who unfortunately passed away? The one who talked to Matt, Laura, and Matt.
Yes. So I just want to go ahead and express my condolences to Robbie's family. Since the filming of Last One Standing, he's passed away. And from what I understand, he was a wonderful, beautiful human being. So we want to, offer our condolences to Robbie and his family. It's a little sad. So, and as you know, that when I was out there, my father got very sick. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and take a moment to address that. I saw a lot of comments about, well, why did I even go and things like that. And normally I don't address those kind of comments, but I am going to address it today. So I was out there. When you go out there, you're out there like 3 or 4 days in advance. The night before I went in is the night that my dad had his medical emergency and was put on life support. So I found out that night before I was going in. So I was already there. I did not know that was going to happen. And I did not want to let my partner down or my partners down. I thought there might be 4 of us. I thought there might be 3 of us. I thought there could have just been 2 of us. So I didn't know what to expect out there because I was wrong the last time I went out there. I thought there was going to be 3 of us and there was only 2. So just, this is reality TV, but we also have to deal with real life, right? All right. So now we need some sunshine.
Okay.
And so let's move on to sunshine. I got the most amazing present I think I've ever gotten in my life, Gabe, this week. And I cannot wait to show it to everybody. I cannot believe it. I got the remaining parts of my duct tape in the mail today sent to me. And it's signed by Omar and Danny and, of course, John. So, this is just like one of the best. Just one of the best gifts. I can't believe this was all the way in Belize and there's no more duct tape left. They used it all. So I'm really happy that they used it. And I'm just telling y'all, this was the best present ever. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Omar, John, and Danny for giving that to MaLu. That's so nice.
Isn't that nice? I thought it was really, really thoughtful. And then I also got a couple of autographs. Oh my God. Hang on. I didn't even see that there was something written on the back. Oh my God. Okay, hang on. MaLu, I thought you might like this piece of Naked and Afraid history as well as a signed headshot and limited edition Sex John print. Your biggest fan, Sexy John. And that's what he wrote on the back of this. And I do have a limited edition Sexy John
from the
photo.
Episode. Oh my God.
I took that. They didn't show me, but I was the one taking the pictures. So that is just, I almost want to cry, but I'm not.
That's
let's
so
move
nice.
on. I said it was going to be sunshine.
My hair is the sunshine. It's shining down.
Yes. Bring me back in. Bring me back in. I'm going to go ahead and let you get this episode started. Scared, snared, down under. And I'm going to let you kick it off, Gabe.
Okay. So to start out, we jump straight into the elimination challenge. Kai has unfortunately just gone home, and everyone's just like, one of our biggest competitors has gone home. Oh no. We got some close-ups of Patrick being sad, and Darren reads off the elimination challenge, which is the survivalist must build and bait a 3-stick snare trap. And oh gosh, they showed us a picture of it, but I was so confused. They need 2 sticks on the side. They need a toggle stick. They need the toggle stick, or they need a horizontal stick attached to the 2 sticks that is attached to a rope that's attached to a sapling, and it also attached to the rope is the noose. And they need to have another stick, and they need to put a stick between the toggle stick and the back stick. And then they're given a 30-pound log, and they need to have it to where their snare lifts the 30-pound log off the ground. And once they complete that part of it, they need to reset their snare trap and they need to bait it with 6 mussels. And when they're told go, they need to jump into a river, grab 6 mussels, and then run off and grab a sapling. And it's pandemonium. Survivalists are jumping in the water. They're doing their best to try to communicate. Unfortunately, Trish, Suzanne, and Jamie are not communicating, where they let us know that early on. And it's off to the races.
Surprise, surprise. Team Jamie, Trish, and Suzanne do not have good communication. Before we get started, I do want to point out something that you mentioned to me about Patrick in the very beginning when they dedicate this to Kai, and you mentioned something about Patrick. Tell me what your thoughts on that.
I think that was a humanizing moment to Patrick because we see him saying Legend Slayer. He's stolen Jamie's line already. He's willing to do what he needs to do and use the rules to his advantage to win the game. But when Darren is saying Kai is gone, we know that last season Kai and Patrick were partnered up for a little bit. So there's a bit of a history there, and they make it a point to zoom in on his face at least 2 to 3 times when Darren's mentioning Kai, and he does seem to have a sullen expression. It's a subtle way of humanizing Patrick because that is his friend, and I think Darren and Kai are the only individuals in the challenge that Patrick probably wouldn't steal from or wouldn't try to be devious in his tactics.
I didn't even think about that. Very true.
And I think by extension, Kayla H, because she had fishing line too, and he could have taken her fishing line. But I think that he has a respect for Kai and Darren after being their partners in LOS 2, where he was saying, okay, they're good. We're friends. I'm not going to take from them, but everyone else is fair game. I'm going to slay all those legends.
Right. So you mentioned that they jump into the water. It's pandemonia and you have to get 6 muscles. And I don't think really anybody has that good of communication. Because I think I did some math, and I think Max, Matt, and Laura probably had more muscles than what they needed.
Yeah, I think, and I remember with Kayla and Darren, since there were 2 of them, Kayla is saying, oh, I'm going to go a little bit north. And at the same time, he grabs 3, I grab 3. So it was a little bit easier for them. And I think they just wanted to try and highlight the dysfunction with Team Jamie, Trish, and Suzanne to kind of foreshadow maybe events that are going to happen and form that narrative. So in people's minds, they're like, oh, they're struggling. I'm understanding. This is the story arc for these individuals kind of thing.
Let's go over each team. And we'll start off with Jamie, Trish, and Suzanne. Let me just say that this was a little boring to me. I mean, I thought all of it was a little bit boring, but let's just keep going. So Jamie, does he or does he not know how to build it?
I think Jamie does know how to build it. So I think that Hang on. We're going to get in more deep into them. So let's just go over who knows how to and who doesn't. So Jamie, Trish, and Suzanne, I think Jamie is the only person who kind of knows how to do it, right? Yeah, and because Suzanne was saying like, hey, do you know how to do this? Do you know how to do this? And he's saying, yes, I know how to do this.
All right, so Matt, Max, and Laura, they know how to do it, right? Do you think that everybody knew or just Matt?
I think they all knew how to do it, but I'm trying to think because Matt showed his adaptability. I think that he's able to think of ideas really quick on the fly.
Yeah. Matt knows how to do it for sure.
Yes.
And then Darren and Kayla. Did Darren know how to do it? Yes, of course, right?
Yeah. And Darren's saying, oh, I've been working on traps since I was 9 or 10 years old. I know how to do it. And
Kayla?
I think she from watching, I don't know if she knew as much as Darren did, and I think she was kind of panicking a little bit. I think she was trying to focus on staying calm, and fortunately Darren, being so knowledgeable, was able to calm her down a little bit. But I don't know if she was able to I don't think she knew how to do it as well as Darren did.
Now we have the last group, which is Jermaine and Patrick and Chini. So do you think they knew how to do it, or just who do you think knew how? Jermaine, Patrick, or Chini?
I think Jermaine was very confident in his knowledge, where if Patrick and Chini knew how to do it, they let Jermaine take the reins. Chini was really good in that supportive role and getting supplies for Jermaine, and Patrick was helping Jermaine out, also being support, but Chini was the main one gathering supplies. And I think that Jermaine was very confident in his ability and took charge and was able to get everything together.
Okay. So I bring up all of this. I mean, we can go deeper into it like you were, but my point is, this was a really hard trap. Even with the drawing, like you said, it was confusing. I've never done this trap before. And I was thinking, could I do this? I don't think I could. I would need somebody on my team who knew how to do it. So, and I think that's where the confusion started, because Trish is cutting things wrong. An's doing her own thing. I don't even think she knows what she's doing. She's just like, oh, I know we need sticks. So I'm gonna go cut a big stick down.
Exactly. And Trish is also thinking the same thing. Why? Because instead of grabbing little sticks here and there, she just grabbed this massive stick and is hacking it down and is just off to the side. And Jamie's just I'm trying to figure out how to put this together, and they're just running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And
right, and he chose a sapling, so he did most of the work on that one, but I don't think he was a very good leader. And I would like to point out, he does not do good under pressure. He freaks out. Am I right?
You are correct. I'm not gonna don't want to skip too far ahead, but yes, watching or seeing in a later challenge, he's talking about how competitive he is, but he was making some mistakes that we could talk about later. But there were two really big ones that he made that could have cost him the challenge. It was by seconds.
I know. So Jamie, I think, has skills, but he does not work good under pressure. And he says it himself. It wasn't really that close. Matt knew what he was doing. Let's talk about some controversies. Some people say, was it fair? Was it not fair? I think if you can build a trap, it's a 3-snare stick trap, you're good to go. What do you think?
I am in agreement that he didn't subtract anything from the trap. He added to it. He was able to make a knot that was strong enough to where the 2 sticks on the side with the horizontal stick, they were able to stay in place. And he added a log to help anchor in the sticks into the ground. And so
he was adapting.
Exactly. I think he is incredibly adaptable and is able to think about things quickly on the fly because he's just because they're like, oh, it may come out. And he's like, I got an idea. And he runs over. And there's a part where there's like a massive dead tree and he just smacks like a massive log off of this thing. He's going, here, bury this in the ground. Okay, tie it into here so it anchors in. So I think he's really smart and his adaptability was on full display and that really helped his team. And production didn't say, hey, you can't do that. So
you're in the clear, safe. So since I think this episode doesn't have a lot of controversy or a lot of things going on, and if you think of something, please let me know. I am going to go ahead and bring something up right now. Usually we wait till the end. I think it goes really good right here. Maybe give a little spice to the podcast. On one of the fan groups, Greg James posted, I have seen in different NNA groups the downfall of Matt. In my opinion, it started with Louisiana XL. He intentionally hit his head on the Bayou Boys sign. It was petty and immature. The nail in the coffin was the Bully Fest and LOS one. What's your opinion, like or dislike? I think he brings up a really good point. I had totally forgot about that little petty moment in Louisiana XL. You remember it?
I do remember it, and I haven't really seen much, or since I've been an admin of the True Fans group, I've never seen anyone mention that, but I do remember back when XL was happening, it's like, oh, there's so much pettiness going on, and certain people are yelling really loudly and scaring away game. And so they thought, hey, why are they putting this sign here that we could easily hit our head on? But my thought is it's not that deep. Maybe, they were just like, let's make a little bit of moment just for funsies since, we're doing so well. Let's just have this moment.
I like your word, funsies. Here for the funsies. I'm here for the pettiness. Let's make it interesting. We got to entertain ourselves somehow out there in the jungle. So I don't know, Greg, you make a really good point. I didn't think about it, but I can see how some people might have started like, that's a little petty. But remember when he was with Waz, how he taught them how to shoot the bow and dance. So we all have our ups and downs. And overall, I think Matt is great.
I think so too. And I think the major downfall was in LOS 1, and Matt's reputation, unfortunately, hasn't recovered from that. People are still calling him overrated. People say that he's bragging all the time. And I'm just going, you mean bragging when he won the rope? That wasn't really bragging. He was just cheering. The bragging when he helped win the bow and arrow, that wasn't like bragging. He was just cheering. Some of the other things that he's won in the past that I don't want to get too far ahead in. And I'm like, I don't see him as braggy. I just see him like cheering for a challenge win. Or I see him and like he's hugging his teammates. He's like bringing his teammates in. It's just like, he's just happy that he won. I don't see the arrogance.
And he has the right to be because he has mad skills. So I'm not going to knock Matt for that. So I want to go ahead and talk about Trish, who made the mistake with the Y sticks. She cut him the wrong way because I don't think it's fair not to point out someone's mistakes. Was it a mistake? 100%. I don't think that has anything to do with her survival skills. It's a new trap for her, and it's under pressure, and a lot of people were making mistakes.
Yeah, I think pretty much every team that we saw, the first time they triggered their trap, their cordage was too long, so the log wasn't fully able to lift off the ground, so they had to do some retying to try and
that's a very
shorten it.
simple mistake, but I think that mistake was made in the heat of competition for everybody, even the great Matt.
Exactly. But we only hear Suzanne playing the blame game when the cordage was too long, because Kayla H could have been like, well, Darren knows how to do this. The rope should have been short enough. We could have heard Cheney or Patrick saying, well, Jermaine knows how to do this. And one of Jermaine's knots came undone. They could have been like, well, one of your knots came undone. But we only hear from Suzanne saying, I had trusted in, or I don't know if she said Jamie, or I trusted in my teammates to know the proper length of rope, but I was wrong. And then she was saying, oh, I think the sapling's too small. And Jamie's like, here, let me just move the cordage down here and de-tie it.
And he fixed it.
He did, yes.
So, yeah, that's a very good point out about Suzanne being Suzanne. When Jermaine's knot failed, he said, my knot failed. Sorry, guys, that's on me. He admitted it, and they just kept moving on. So everybody had mistakes. Now, I will say this about Jermaine's mistake and the rest of his teammates. Could have won. Y'all could have won. I was like, in my mind, y'all were right there. And I will say, I think Jermaine's mistake cost him number one.
I want to see the raw footage. I want to see how much time it was in between each one, because, it's similar to in LOS season 1 with the race between Danny and Lacey in the first elimination challenge, where it looked so close, but it could have been 20 to 30 seconds. But yeah, I think that if the knot had been better and if the cordage was shorter, then they definitely would have gotten first place. But unfortunately for them, the A team, Team Matt, Max, and Laura, took first place, and they won a goat.
And the goat was a little small, but I love the way that they won it. They were happy. Now, I don't remember what part this was, and I really should have better notes. But like I said, I was a little disinterested in this episode. But do you remember when Matt and Max are hugging Laura and they're pulling her in there? She's like, ah, and she's making all these really like big smiles and faces. Do you remember that? I
do, yes.
I think it's because they smelled bad. I think she was trying. I'm gonna be honest, because like they have her head like all near their underarms. She's like, oh yeah, and I really do think it's because they smelled. I'm just saying that's my personal opinion. I've been there, done that, and yeah, that's what I think. Rewatch it, y'all, and you tell me what you think. I think the guys were stinky.
Yeah, and Matt and Max were like, yay, hugs and hugs, and Laura's like, yay, this is fine. Yeah,
I swear that's what I saw. So then Jermaine comes in, they get it. And this is another really good point. They got the rabbit, and then Darren and Kayla come in. But let's talk about the interesting part where Trish is like, dude, there's nobody else. We're last. We're done. And Suzanne's like, no, if we were the last ones, I would know we were the last ones. And I'm just like, why do y'all have to contend so much? And this is like a dumb thing to contend over, right?
Yes, I'm just imagining Trish I think there was an exchange in The Hobbit that was similar to this, but I'm just imagining Trish saying, hey, good morning, Suzanne. And Suzanne's like, what's that supposed to mean? Are you saying that this morning is good, or you want me to be good on this morning? Or Trish would say, oh, you look good today, Suzanne. What? So I don't look good every day? Why would you say that, Trish? Sabotage.
Oh, yeah, it's getting tiring. I would like to point out that Max says that they haven't eaten for 6 days, and I call BS on that because I saw some fruit in their camp. So, yeah, they're eating. I just don't think that, I think he means meat, but they're eating. I saw the fruit. Did you see the fruit?
I did not see the fruit, but I saw Kayla and Darren getting fruit, and they went berry hunting previously.
On the ground in their camp. So let's remember Max's cheesy line. I know it's in your notes. I know you probably have it in your mind. Do you remember Max's cheesy line when they won?
A goat for the goats?
So cheesy, but I loved it. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was so cheesy, but I liked it.
I remember on his mentor challenge, I believe his mentee, her name is Michael Lynn, and I think Noah was there too, but Michael Lynn was saying, oh, there are noises out here, and Max is like, so you're saying you're naked and afraid? And she's just like, this is terrifying, and it's just like a joke.
And I'm really surprised. I thought Max, and when we first started doing this, I thought there could be some contention between Matt and Max. And I'm not saying Max isn't getting screen time, but he's not getting that much individual screen time. And when he does, it's a lot of one-liners.
Yeah, there are a few moments where they cut to him, but I think we all moved on from his pants, the pants thing. I think we all moved on from that too quickly. And someone posted in True Fans, like, Max is eye candy. And people are like, yes, 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 yes. So, I mean, justice for Max. Where is he in the edit, everybody?
So let's go back. So we have Trish, and they're not communicating well. They're last. And Suzanne is crying already. And I'm just like, well, I mean, y'all were last. I don't know why she's crying.
Well, because she hates to lose, as she said, through the tears. And I think it was a little bit, I think it was a little shady of production, because I wonder how long Jamie, Suzanne, and Trish were trying to fix their trap, and they're just there and everyone's already gone through. And Trish is just like,
hello.
Yeah. Oh, and I wanted to point out how I think it was, or this is just a random production thing, breaking the fourth wall, but when I believe it was Darren and Kayla's second attempt on trying to lift their log, it kind of lifted up a little bit, but went back down. And if you look, the trap is kind of like to the left. I'm audio only, I'm so sorry. But, Kayla is the trap is to Kayla's right, but then you kind of see her move her head quickly to the left. And I think that was the moment of her looking towards production to be like, is this okay? And I think production was probably like, no, not good. And so they had to redo
They're
it.
getting rulings out there, and I think they need to make it more clear. Hey, I can be a referee. Put me out there naked, and I will referee the heck out of them, because hers did not get off the ground. Jermaine's was a little wonky, but it got off the ground. So yes, they're looking for the judges for them to tell them to move on, or they got it, they don't got it. And then, Max made the smoker. I could definitely make a smoker from watching Max. So this show is really great because you can learn things. And if I ever get caught out there and I need to make a smoker, I can definitely do it. There's really nothing to talk about with Darren and Kayla, but let's talk about Trish and the black currant berries.
Oh gosh, I went to Google. I went to Google after the confrontation between Trish and Suzanne, because I'm just thinking maybe if it's unripened or if it's a certain color, then it might cause more digestive issues. But Suzanne's line of thinking was very confusing to me with the black currant.
She just doesn't like Trish. That's all there is to it. Trish is being the bigger person here. And let me tell you something. Remember you said that Trish needed some really good editing to get her some more fan appreciation? I think that's happening because Trish has done nothing to warrant the way that Suzanne and Jamie are treating her.
I agree. And I saw a few posts on the True Fans page, and there were a few individuals that were saying, good job, Trish. We are rooting for you. You did such a good job in the elimination challenge. And so I think finally, luckily, fan perception is turning to more positive for Trish, and there wasn't a moment where people could go, she cheated. It's like, no, right. She took her time.
So, and the thing that I loved about the black currant berry controversy is that she's in front of their face saying, I guess they think I'm going to poison them. And she's talking what they're doing to her with they're sitting right there. And that takes a lot of guts. You have to be a really strong person to do that. Jersey strong. Trish, I don't think I would have been able to do that. Hats off to you for speaking your mind. I respect that. I wish I could be more vocal like that. So mad respect.
Yeah, and I noticed that they changed her moniker from the Maverick to the Jersey Girl. So yeah. I think she said Jersey Strong a few times, or I'm the Jersey Girl a few times. They're like, let's just change that real quick. No one's going to notice except for some eagle-eyed viewers.
Hey, they weren't expecting you, Gabe. So
wow.
Suzanne says, Jamie and I don't trust Trish. And I'm just like, Trish was worried about somebody else poisoning her. So you think she would go back and do that to her own teammates? Your logic makes no sense. And I have nothing for you, Suzanne. I want to root for you, but you keep giving me reasons not to root for you, Suzanne. Come on.
In the words of Tyra Banks, I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? And that's why I was so confused with her. Like, Trish is sitting there with the currants in her lap. Do they think that she added some extra berries that she's like, no, not that one. No, take this one. Yeah, it's totally a black currant. And she's literally eating them in front of them. And we also don't hear that much from Jamie. He's just kind of like, I'm going to drink some water. So maybe Suzanne is just leering at him. And he's just like, oh yeah, I kind of manipulated Suzanne a little early on. I don't want her to get mad at me. But I'm sure Jamie probably did say a few things, but they just really wanted to cement a Trish versus Suzanne kind of rivalry here. And Jamie's just, oh, I'm just a little Scottish boy sitting in the middle of these two. This is fine. Or something like that.
I'm sorry, the way that Jamie and Suzanne kind of look at each other like, I'm just going to have some water. Yeah, I'm going to focus on water. And they look at each other. This is such a setup. I just can't stand it. Yep, this is why y'all are where you are right now. It's not because Trish is sneaky. It's because y'all don't have a team. But oh my goodness.
Yeah, unfortunately, they are facing the consequences of their actions. And maybe if they were more of a team and listened to each other, they may have ended up in third place or second place, probably third place. But if I had a nickel for every time there was a group of two that made it to third place on a last one standing when there were three other groups of three, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's crazy that it happened twice.
And so I was really hoping, and Suzanne, I know I'm giving you a hard time. I'm probably not going to be your favorite person, but let me tell you something. The reason why I have such a big beef with you is not really because of you per se. It's because Jamie was deceiving you from the very beginning and you gravitated towards Jamie. And I don't know why, and I don't think it's fair. And I think that we talked about this in length already, but that is the reason why I'm just really, I want to pull for you, girl, but you got Jamie in your corner, and I don't think it was the right choice to make because she's like, I want to be standing here at the end of this with you, Jamie. And he kind of does this weird smile, and he's like, yeah, thanks. I really appreciate you telling me that. He doesn't return the favor, and I don't think it was returned. I don't think this was an edit. He doesn't say it, Gabe.
He does not, no. Yeah, I think Jamie is kind of focusing on, okay, how will I use this to take a step forward by myself in the competition? And Suzanne was thinking kind of in we're kind of in an alliance. We're a duo. We'll do this together. And Jamie's going, all right, I'll just see what I need to say to make sure you stay happy while I do my own thing over here.
Suzanne, you were getting played, and it really bothered me. And there's nothing wrong with Jamie trying to play you like this. That's just his personality. Some people are like that. I think we have to listen to that inner voice and really see what's going on because he's making you not look good. So let's get to the elimination challenge. We talked a lot. It's a swing pot. I could do it. This is not really, really hard. I could do this. I'm convinced I could do this. Trish says she's never done it before. Suzanne doesn't seem like she's ever done it before. And Jamie says he knows how to do it. But like you said, he made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, I think, and I remember last episode, you asked me, what does Trish have that Jamie and Suzanne don't? Trish said she's been in the game before. How is it an advantage? And I've been thinking about it, and I've come to the conclusion that Jamie and Suzanne are focusing, okay, let me get the pieces right. It'll fit together and it will work. But Trish is thinking, okay, I'm going to get everything together. What do I do if everything goes wrong? And I think that's the mentality that helped Trish through this elimination challenge, where the other two were going fast, and made a bunch of little mistakes. And Trish was going slowly, and she's like, okay, this isn't working. Hold on, let me fiddle with it a little bit more. Okay. And so she only had to do certain processes once. And so she was able to stay calm, cool, and collected and thought of things if things went wrong.
Jamie says somewhere in there, I'm undefeatable. Are you delusional? You are so defeatable. You've been defeated time and time again. Jamie, I'm probably not someone you're going to be a big fan of, but I do think you have the skill, the talent. Your personality might rub me the wrong way, but that doesn't matter. You're making great TV. But I think if you focused more on the task at hand instead of the way you look, I think you would do better. What do you think?
I agree. I think that Jamie is a very talented individual. He was able to make it 21 days solo on the solo series. And so he has the mental fortitude to do it. He has skills. So he has what it takes. But I think he kind of I'm trying to think of the word. He underestimated the fast pacedness of the challenge and needing to slow down. And he has an idea in his mind. He's like, I gotta do it. I gotta go head first into this as fast as I can. And unfortunately, that was a little bit of his downfall. And
a lot of his downfall, because he almost went home. And one thing that I could not understand about this challenge is, now I know it worked, Suzanne. I know it worked, Jamie. And Trish started off wobbly too. You should have your arm first. So when you're making the notches, you know exactly how the arm's going to fit in those notches and make it very, very secure. And this is what I'm going to say to everybody out there who says, oh, she's an armchair survivor. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Yeah, Suzanne's little wobbly little shelf worked and Jamie's little shelf worked. And Trish was, was there. Hers was probably the best. But would you put your child or your pet underneath that water, depending on those notches that they did? The answer would be no. That was, for the challenge, it was fine, but they weren't doing it the right way. It wasn't, and I was so worried that they were going to fall off because their notches were so bad.
Yeah, I think maybe in their heads they're like, I'm going to make these great notches. Everything's going to fit together perfectly. Oh no, I am in last place. Okay, it's not messing around. And the
string did a lot of the work. The string really did a lot of the work. So, did you notice, and I feel like I'm picking on Suzanne, did you notice that Suzanne's pot for a quick moment was supported by sticks underneath it?
Well, at the very beginning when she was building her fire?
Yeah, just for a couple seconds.
I noticed that a little bit, but I was mainly focused on her being like, oh, yes, I got it. Or she was kind of pulling a Matt in the very first challenge, of kind of speaking a little bit too much, and it's just kind of like, focus, just focus on the fire.
I think that this might have been a rules call, because her pot was it, and I could be 100% wrong. I don't know. I'm just pointing something out. Her pot was supported by the sticks, and I noticed they moved really quickly, and I just wonder if production said, hey, make sure you move those sticks. I don't know. They could have just burnt down, but I don't know. It's Suzanne who's in the lead. I mean, she has everything set up. Jamie, poor Jamie. Jamie, I don't know what he was doing.
The curved stick.
And then he went and made another stick, and he forgets to make all the
cooling
notches in it.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah, I think he was like, okay, the stick is staying in the ground. Okay, I've made these two notches. And then he went, oh no, I need to make this notch. And it's just forgetting things that he shouldn't be forgetting. But I think he was just so gung-ho about it. He forgot little things, and those cost him a precious few seconds. And it kind of looked a little bit rough for him. And then there was the stuff with the twine, and Trish was really the only one who was going, oh, I need to wet this because the fire might burn it. And Jamie's just going, build a bigger fire, fire.
Yeah, we don't go there yet, because that's the biggest contention whatsoever. What was going on with Suzanne's attitude? She was acting so weird. I mean, what was that? I mean, and I've never seen Suzanne act like this before. Like when she was with Wes, when she was with our favorite guy, we're not going to say his name, but when, she was partnered with those other guys, I didn't see her act like this. It was kind of childlike. I don't know. What was it? You're really good with words. What was she acting like?
I think
why?
I'm trying to think, because she's almost acting as though, she's a child who loves dinosaurs, and she is building, I guess, a Lego set of her favorite dinosaur, and it's almost done and everything's working out. It's like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to finish my Lego dinosaur. And then, a sibling comes in and kicks it down, and it's like, oh no. But I think at that point she thought she won. So she's going, okay, all I need to do is get this water to boil and turn it. Okay, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this. But I think the adrenaline was kind of kicking in for her. And for me, sometimes if I'm a little bit anxious, I become an anxious talker, and words just kind of escape my mouth. And so either you can try to hold that in, or you could just kind of let it out. And I think she was just a little bit anxious, and she was just like, okay, everything is working. I'm not going to go home. Everything is working. I'm so excited. And then that might have been what it was.
Like she wasn't taking it serious to me. Something. And then, so let's talk. We got to wrap this up about this, because the challenge wasn't even that exciting. So then Jamie, his pot falls, and he got so lucky that the water did not fall out and put out his fire. But what was he thinking? Because he's standing up there thinking, like, he's almost like bragging, like, oh, I got this. I'm going to put this fire in there. And like, it was obvious your pot was gonna fall. to everybody. Why not him?
I think, yeah. And there are a few moments where you look at the pot and you can see singe marks on the side, but then I think there are a few parts where you don't see those, but you can see the singe marks on the side. And I think he wasn't looking at the twine, he was looking at the water. And so he's thinking, okay, if I build it, or this twine isn't going to burn for some reason, or maybe that's one of the things that left his mind, like how he forgot the cooling notch. And so he was just focused on the water, just, okay, it's heating up, it's bubbling, it's bubbling. Wait, why is it further down than I thought it was? Oh no.
Yeah, it was a big fiasco, and this puts Trish in, the running to take it over. Trish is just going slow and steady and winning the race. I think she did everything right. I think her notches were there. I think her fire was there. I think that she was on track to win from the beginning. Then Suzanne, she was in the position to win. You were in the position to win, girl. And I was like, could Gabe be wrong? Could Suzanne be staying? But then you just kept looking at your fire, and you knew from the position of how high up it was that it was not going to get to a roiling boil the way you had it. And she went in there too late. It's just like when on the stove, you have a electric stove. If you put it on 5, it's never gonna boil. I don't care how long you leave it on there. She never had a chance with the way that her fire was.
And I think it was a cinematic parallel to the season before with Gary, Danny, and Lindsay, because Lindsay faced a similar problem because I believe Lindsay's issue was she wanted to be far away from the fire so the sticks didn't catch on fire. And so that kind of did her in a little bit, and then her whole structure went up in flames. But Suzanne, she wasn't able to maneuver the fire so it would go and heat up the water fast enough. And Jamie, his pot kind of tilted forward a little bit, but he ended up getting that rolling boil and was able to turn it. And Suzanne was just seconds away, but Jamie just got that second place by a few seconds.
Think that if Suzanne would have been focused on just herself, because I think she was focused the whole time with Jamie and her and this made up alliance she had in her head. And I mean, I felt so embarrassed for her when she was like, come look at my bubbles. Look at my bubbles. And Jamie's like, nah, I'm good. And she played it off, but I wonder if that hurt her feelings, because it hurt my feelings. And I was just like, this is a competition, girl. Quit talking to him. Cover up your stuff. Set it at an angle so that he can't see what you're doing. Why are y'all talking like that? And it bit her in the butt. I think if she would have been focused on her and just her, she would have won. I think she would have beat Trish. She would have beat Jamie. I mean, and then Jamie would have been going home because Trish beat Jamie.
Yeah, I think Suzanne was a little overconfident, and she thought that she was further ahead. And if she would have just focused, but unfortunately she didn't. She thought she had crossed the finish line when she wasn't even halfway there, it seemed.
Exactly. So let's talk about the word jute. I was so tired of hearing them say the word jute. I did not know what to do. They just kept saying it over and over. And thank God we weren't playing a drinking game, because I would have been drunk as a skunk. It was annoying me.
Protein, game changer, hunting, water. Speaking of water, everyone make sure you're hydrated. Oh, that has my name on it. Make sure you're hydrated. Oh, wait, no. Make sure you're hydrated.
Okay, so Trish cries. I mean, she cries when she wins. It was a little touching. I was so happy to see her cry. She's getting that emotional feeling. She feels like she can win this. And like you said, she really needed some good editing, but this is not editing. Trish, you are doing it, girl. You are winning people over who did not like you because of you. And I am so proud of you. I am in awe.
Yes. And there were a few people on Reddit that were saying, oh, I think Trish read the subreddits because she made the comment about riding people's coattails. And Trish is saying, hey, if you think that I'm riding coattails, I freaking did it. I completed this challenge and I was first and I'm not going home. And this is the second time I was in the bottom, but I managed to win and not go home.
And I did notice that she said that. I noticed it too. And I was like, we say we're not going to read the negative comments. We say we're not going to let it affect us. But you know what? I think at some level, it affects us all. I don't care what you say with your mouth. I think subconsciously it has to affect you a little bit. And that's why there's a lot of people out there, a lot of famous people out there who say, don't read the comments. Put it out there and don't read the comments. And that's all you have to do. So now Suzanne's crying. So we have Suzanne crying. We have Trish crying. Jamie thinks he's so happy that he made it. It was close. He shouldn't be happy. So now it's just a team of Jamie and Trish, and I hope things change. when Trish says goodbye to Suzanne, they show that little moment saying, I thought you were kind of bossy. And that's what I'm saying. You don't get to see everything. We're judgmental. We're just judging on what we see. But I kind of liked it, but it was still kind of confrontational.
Well, I took Trish being like, I am, as kind of like, yeah, I am kind of bossy, but like, this is my humor kind of thing.
Yeah. So you just have to get to know a person. I've met Trish in person, and I have to be honest with you. The person that was with me who met her, he was like, I really like her. She has that kind of energy. She just, she was actually in Colombia when I was in Colombia, my first challenge. So I got to talk to her then. She really is a great person. We're going to wrap this up. We talked a lot, but like I said, to me, this episode didn't have a lot going on. The one thing that I want to bring up is Darren and Kayla eating the fig with the bugs. Oh my God. The nightmares you gave me for the rest of my life. I swear I'm itching just thinking about it. That was the most horrible scene I've ever seen on Naked and Afraid.
I think they give me brother-sister vibes a little bit because the long brown hair, Darren's kind of the wild child, Kayla H is kind of the sporty, like, what is happening? Why are you in the mud, Darren? I want to have fun. Get out of the mud, Darren. We have a thing to go to. But I want to play in the mud, Darren. Fine. I got you a fig.
But we'll talk about the bugs. And I swear, at one point she had a bug in her tooth. It was the grossest thing. Did that not gross you out?
I was kind of laughing at the situation. When they showed the close-up of the bugs, I was like, ew. But then Darren was like, oh, no, it's actually kind of good. And Kayla H is like, no, give me that back. And Darren's like, yummy. And she's like, yummy. And so I thought it was funny.
She mocks him because he does this really, and then she goes, and she mocks him. It's just so hilarious. It was probably my favorite part of the whole thing. Let's talk about the nest. The Yeti nest, or whatever you want to call the nest. I don't want to talk a lot about it. I think it was somewhat there because of Trent and his Bigfoot experience. I don't know what it was. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even think it's worth talking about. What do you think?
I think it was an interesting segment to learn about the indigenous culture and their thoughts about the Yowie, I believe it's what it's called. And I wrote down, but it's an omen or something. And maybe it's kind of foreshadowing for the downfall of the A-team because they're saying don't talk about it because if you talk about it, then bad things could happen to you. So I'm just thinking, is this kind of foreshadowing or is this just kind of like some segment that they wanted to add for a little bit of drama? Because people are talking about it. It may not be in the most positive of light, but because it's part of an indigenous culture, I don't want to try to make light of it, but just kind of just, hey, this is what they believe. Here are some segments where people were hearing things in the middle of the night. But I think it did take up a lot of time.
Yeah, too much time, but you make a really good point. And I love when you put me in my place like that. You're right. That is kind of insensitive because to their culture, it is something that's important. I even think I saw Kai make a post about it. So you're right. I'm going to move on from that. Let's wrap up with the little bit of controversy between Patrick and Jermaine. I think they probably made a little bit more out of it than what it was, but I am going to say this. Patrick, you got on my nerves, and it's not because it's the black cowboy. I hate it when someone pokes you and prods you, and then when they respond back, you're like, dude, calm down. You're making too big of a deal out of it. I hate that. If you are going to poke somebody and say something negative, then you get ready for that negativity thrown right back at you. Don't dish it if you can't take it. And that was the only part that I did not like about it.
Yeah, there were definitely cracks in the partnership there. And I think that's part of the reasons why Patrick's PSR went down, because he's at odds. And I also wanted to point out how after Patrick, Chini, and Jermaine won the rabbit, there were several shots of Chini just like hugging Jermaine for a long period of time. And I thought that was really, really nice, that I think those two had a nice little bond going on. And when discussing the hunting, Chini said, hey, I think that Jermaine should have the bow and arrow to hunt the boars because he has a lot of experience. And so she kind of calmed down the little tiny confrontation during the night and was just like, hey, these are the facts. Jermaine has a lot more experience with these specific animals. Why not let him go hunting for them? Yeah.
Patrick went out there by himself with it, so it didn't work. It did not work because she said, I think Jermaine should go out. Jermaine obviously is going to vote for himself because he does have the most experience. And just to everybody who's listening, I've known Jermaine for a long time. And if you follow him, He's in Texas. I have hogs outside of my house. I have seen so many, hogs that have been trapped. I've been on the road before, scared of a hog that's going to run into my car. When I tell you that Jermaine does have more experience than Patrick, I think it's very, very clear that that's a fact. However, now I'm going to give Patrick some love. Patrick has a different way of going about things. He does things that are reckless, but he does it and owns it. And he wants to take that shot. He wants to take that chance. He's like, we got to take the chances that are in front of us. Now, you can hurt yourself with those kind of chances, but he is willing to make those kinds of risks. And if you're my partner, you want to do that kind of risk, hey, either you're going to get me one step closer to the $100,000 or we're going to eat. So it's a win-win. Let him go out there and be reckless. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. And there was also the moment where he was talking about everything they got was because of me. They should show me a little bit more respect. And I was just like, oh no, not the karma fish coming back to hey, after all I've stolen for you, those fish were from me, the karma fish. Karma, fish. Just kind of thing.
So that's how it kind of ends. Let's make our predicaments for next week. I still think that Laura's going to get hurt when something hits her in the face. I think I saw blood. It's definitely going to need medical attention. That's what I think. What do you think is going to happen next week? Who's going to get the first hog? Is Patrick going to get a hog? What do you think?
Well, I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, but I believe there was a behind the scenes photo of someone with a hog, but I think that the Naked and Afraid Instagram took it down, but I think that Matt got the hog. I don't know about Patrick, but I think Matt also shooting at a hog, but I think Matt gets his hog, but I'm not 100% sure on it.
Does Patrick get a hog?
I don't think he'll get the hog.
I think that the honeymoon phase is now over. We're 10 days in. We're 1/3 of the way through. This is when people start getting a little bit more cranky. People are getting on each other's nerves. The honeymoon period is over. So I think there's going to be a lot of tension going on between everybody. Now, with that being said, when is Jamie leaving?
My prediction is next episode, because when we see the trailer of the individual getting carried out, and I don't know if it's called a stretcher, but they're getting carried out, the upper region is not censored, so it's definitely a man. And I believe there's something wrapped around their arm, but I think we can see tattoos on their arm and chest. And I know people are saying, but what about Jamie's blacked out arm? The arm that's blacked out might be hidden on the side, but the person does seemingly have tattoos based on the lighting. And the only individuals with chest tattoos are Darren and Jamie. And we still have a few more moments of Darren. So I think that Jamie, unfortunately, is going next episode, and Trish may not be there much longer either.
Which is heartbreaking. I know that something does happen medically for Trish as well. So we got a lot to look forward to. We don't want to ruin everything for you, but we got to keep our eye on Trish. We got to keep our eye on Laura. And I believe in my co-host that Jamie is going to be going home, which I am not happy about. I am not happy with Jamie going home because I wanted Jamie to get beat. He's so undefeatable. I wanted him to get beat.
So would you like to see him on next season of Last One Standing?
100%, Jamie. You come on back to this show because I love it. Even though I talk about you, I love it.
Yeah, I would like to maybe see him more in a group setting where it's not a competition and then have him come back. But I definitely think enough people are talking about him and his controversy that it'd be great to have him come back. And then maybe as he's like, oh, here I am at camp, he hears Jamie, and he turns around and there's Suzanne just standing off in the distance like, so you gave me the kukri out of the kindness of your heart? And he's just like, oh no. And then episode ends. But I think...
Yes. That would be hilarious. Definitely want to see Jamie back. I do think Jamie's going home. I don't think that we're going to have anyone eliminated next week. I don't know. I don't think so. What about you?
I don't think we will. It may be an elimination challenge, but it might be a Boulent situation where because someone was medically tapped, they're like, someone went home, everyone drop your stuff, we're good.
We'll find out. We'll see. But thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you like, follow, and subscribe because we want to give you these tips. We're getting better at it every week, and we're just so happy to talk with you. And there's so much more we have to, spill the tea on.
Yes. Spill the tea. Spill the water. Wow. Yep.
Well, I'm MaLu Beyonce, and from one naked and afraid survivalist to all the fans out there, I'm out.
Bye. Thank you for being
Bye,
here.
Gabe.
Bye, MaLu.